The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered! You covered 12! I covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday episode of the Bostonian versus the Book. He is Dave Sharapan. I'm Matt Perrault, and we are live with you on YouTube, as we always are, at Boston versus the Book. That's the same handle for Twitter X. Replay on Sports Grid Television on Sirius XM channel 159, where at the top, we asked you guys for questions yesterday. We got a couple Ask the BVB stuff coming at you. Blue Jays, Dave, are you projecting here, or what's the Blue Jay play today?
Everybody's talking about the Blue Jays, and I don't speak Spanish.
Okay,
not really well. It's not good at all. No bueno. But Vlad was talking yesterday through the interpreter. I figured, it was a good day to wear it. We're getting ready for baseball season. We're getting ready for spring training.
It's gonna look great in a Red Sox uniform. You gotta say that. It's gonna look great in a Red Sox uniform. Can't wait to see this. Anybody that says I will never play for the Yankees and I hate the Yankees, you're making a play for Boston. We're in.
Yeah,
we're in. Let's go.
Yeah, I can't say that you're wrong. It would really behoove the Red Sox to get in on the Vlad business.
Chicago Christian, it is currently 13 degrees in this state that I am living in. It'll be 75 when I go back, but until then, I've got to bundle up. So I've worn a hoodie on the air for the first time this week. I wore, I don't know what you want to call that. It was a quarter zip up, a North Face quarter zip up yesterday, and we're pulling out the sweater today because you got to stay cold or stay warm from the cold. It has been an eye-opening trip to say the least.
Yeah.
Yes, I look cold because I am cold. That's I look cold because I am cold. So let's be frank here. The 46 degrees in the basement today, by the way. So could not be downstairs.
46 in the basement.
Yeah. So
yeah,
air temp 46 degrees. So that would have been a little bit tough. It would have been nice, but thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. That's very nice of you. I appreciate it. We're classing up the joint a little bit here. But yesterday, Dave, you asked for this. You said, "Hey guys, go and send us a couple emails." And so I pulled a few to come to the show and give you guys a chance to ask us questions. And I thought one could be kind of interesting because it came from the guy who I don't want to say we called him out, but we kind of did. We kind of called him out. We kind of said, hey, his name's Kyle, by the way. He now is signing his emails as AKA Marcus Doughboy, your biggest critic.
Love it.
That's his email.
Come on, Marcus.
He signed.
I love it.
But he said
he's been listening to the show for 2 years.
He did. And he actually included Will.
Instant credibility.
He said,
with
hello, Dave, Will, and Matt. So Will gets a shout out at the top.
And we didn't even have to swear to get Will a shout.
Said,
this is great news.
It's me, Marcus. We got off on the wrong foot yesterday as I came off as a jerk. I apologize. I'm a huge fan of your show. I started listening 3 years ago to Matt and his show, The Daily Juice, when it was the show Just the Picks. I was even listening to Dave when he started appearing on Matt's show, Pushing the Odds. I believe that's what it was called. Correct, Marcus. I started really getting into sports betting and started betting daily and tracking my stats and unit sizes and all of that. A lot of that was because of Dave and Matt and the BVB. You guys preach bankroll management and unit size, which has been a huge thing for me as a daily bettor. I have learned a great deal about sports betting in the industry, and that's because of y'all. I'm trying to get into the content space. Oh, Marcus. I appreciate the advice you guys give. I really appreciate what y'all do. I'm a huge basketball fan, huge NBA fan. I just got tired of hearing the constant complaining about the NBA when that doesn't really represent as many people as you would think. Are there issues? Absolutely.
Yes.
But basketball is a great sport, and the NBA is the highest level of basketball. I'm also a big fan of other sports. It would be an honor to appear on your show one day to talk about the NBA, sports betting, NCAA basketball, golf, NFL, or just about anything else, including hatred of Connecticut that Matt and I both share. Thanks for your time. Signed, Kyle.
Damn.
I liked all of that except for the content space piece.
Yeah.
That's the one piece that is like, okay, let's rethink this for a second.
Kyle, a.k.a. Marcus, Doughboy, a.k.a. our biggest critic. My man, thank you for stepping up and bringing a great email. I mean, we ask people all the time who have opinions to just email the show. You took the time and actually did it. You do that and you come with respect. It can be in disagreement, but with respect. We'll read it on the show. We'll talk about it. We'll try to have you on the show if we can make it work. Now, the criticism. What? It had a killer intro to it. He's right.
It was a song written by a professional who licensed the show to the podcast. It was like it was an actual real song that you can go and listen to. So I guess technically it did have a good song.
It was a good song, and it was just the picks, which is what people want. Half the people want anyway.
Right?
They don't want to hear all the complaining.
It was a double entendre. It was a whole. It was fun.
Right.
That was for 7 months.
Kyle, Marcus, whatever you want to. I mean, I'll just agree to call you Kyle,
Marcus.
I guess.
Marcus,
whatever. Yeah. We don't like the complaining either. But what we do on the show is listen to what's going on in the sports world, bring it to the show, debate it, talk about it, bring up one side or both sides or whatever, 8 sides it is. We let the chat fire away, and then we move on.
Right.
So we weren't dwelling on it, and we weren't trying to bring it down. I like the NBA as well, but there's the juice right there. The NBA deserves all the flack and criticism it's getting right now. Marcus, it's true. Sometimes you have to acknowledge that the noise is actually more than noise. It's actually truth, and that's what we try to do every day on the show. If you like the show, again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got a couple announcements today for live shows.
Yeah.
Taking the BVB on the road and, then bringing it back for is this like a home and home series? Like what we're doing?
Kind of. I mean, it's back-to-back weeks. So, I mean,
right?
it's kind of like that. So, sure. And we can call it that if you'd like. But one more, because that wasn't really a question. That was more of like a statement from Marcus. This is actually a question from Vinny Konwinski.
Vinny.
He said, guys, mailbag question for each of you with a bonus question for you, Dave. Favorite moment playing sports growing up? What was it?
Oh, man, I had so many. I think semifinal road game, state high school playoffs. We went to this rink and we were dogs. And we kicked this team's ass to get one game away from playing at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. And we had maybe the best goal of the season, highlight goal. I took an outlet pass from a defenseman at mid-ice in the center, and Eugene passed it back and forth 4 times. We had this guy on a top spinning in a circle trying to defend a 2-on-1, and he passed it to me, and I finished it with a goal. The building erupted, all of our fans, and then their fans got so mad after that the state police had to get involved while we were sitting on the bench. Yeah, it got ugly because we were huge dogs. Not huge dogs, by perception-wise we were. We knew we were going to beat them, and that was a crowning achievement. Winning a road game was good, but I mean, hitting 3 home runs in a game was pretty good in Little League. I don't know. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah,
You?
for me, there were probably 2 that stand out. One was I had like a Dave Roberts moment before Dave Roberts playing, I don't know, we called it 13-year-old league, but it was sort of like in between high school and 8th grade. Like,
Oh, this was your stolen base story?
Yeah. So
I remember this.
So I everyone knew it. We had to steal second base. I had to score the game-winning run. We had to get so I ended up I ran, and the throw beat me so badly that I jumped over the kid at second base. I literally leapt over him, and he didn't realize I was going to do that. He just watched me jump over the top of him, and then I grabbed the bag coming down and was safe. And then the next pitch, the kid signaled the game-winning run, and we scored. The kid was crying. The second baseman was crying his eyes out because he didn't think I was going to jump over the top of him. So that was probably my favorite baseball moment. For, I guess, high school, it was same semifinals of state against St. John's Prep, which is our arch rival. They knocked us out of my junior year. They knocked us out of the state quarterfinals. My senior year, they knocked us out of the semifinals. But I played the game of my life defensively, and I got recruited by a bunch of colleges off that one performance. A bunch of scouts were all there, and I basically wanted to kill everybody. Like, I played hockey that day.
Yeah.
I knew it was my last day playing soccer. It was like my last game.
Right.
I knew I wasn't going to be playing. I didn't think I'd get recruited. I was lightly recruited up to that point. And then I beat the crap out of everybody. I was throwing elbows. I was up in the air, knocking kids down. I was all over the place. I played the most aggressive game of my life. And then afterwards, I got all these offers from D2 and D3 schools to play. And I was like, okay, they want me to play like that? Like, I thought I was playing hockey in soccer, but we lost the game 3-2. And I'll never forget that feeling walking off, because I hated St. John's Prep, and I still hate it. And we went to St. John's Prep. I hate you still. Everyone went to St. John's Prep. You guys recruited. It was bullshit that you played in our league. It was ridiculous. You were a private school playing against us, one town. You are our arch rival in every sport. So they recruit guys to go play there. Lawrence was our other big. Lawrence, North Andover were other big, but St. John's Prep had no business playing in our thing, and they kept both of my years knocked me out of my quarter and semifinals. So those are
there's a couple, that the one baseball memory, one of the last playoff games that I played in Colt League before Legion, we were up 10-2 and lost 11-10. And the guys that were on that field still talk about it. I was dying a slow death because I couldn't pitch. They wouldn't let me go in because I had my innings requirement. So I was standing at first base, playing first base, watching every infielder make an error, center fielder drop a ball, and kept calling timeout and kept going, guys, catch the ball. We're going to be okay. Catch the ball. And we ended up getting walked off and lost the game 11-10. So that one's, I don't know if it's a great sports memory, but it's one that stings. Right. And, you remember I pitched a 1-hitter, 7-inning 1-hitter in Colt League as well. 4 2/3 no-hitter. This bald little blooper dropped. I was so mad, and only 3 people on the field knew.
Douglas, I love you. No hate for Central Catholic. Yes, we hate Central Catholic as much. I didn't play football beyond my freshman year. So Central Catholic was our big rival in basketball and a big rival in football, but they weren't our big rival in soccer and baseball. So I didn't play.
So is that a rivalry that just runs
Central's in Lawrence? It's
for a long time.
So St. John's Prep is the more expensive version, but it's a private school it's in Danvers, Mass. Central Catholic is in the next town over, and it's been the team that my school, Andover High, every Thanksgiving played Central. Now they play North Andover, but they used to play Central every single Thanksgiving, and that was our hated rival. So Douglas is from Andover, so that's why he's asking.
So that's a generation thing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's all boys, right? Both schools are all boys. St. John's Prep is all boys. Okay. So is Central Catholic. So they're heavily into sports and obviously different than my town. But Pedro, I was good at soccer. I just didn't like playing it. I wish I was as good at baseball as I was at soccer, because I loved baseball. I just wasn't good enough as a hitter. And then in basketball, I wasn't a good enough shooter. I played all the way up to JV. I got called up to varsity, but I didn't play my junior and senior year varsity. I've told the story before. It's why I went into sports broadcasting, because rather than, sucking it up and trying hard and going and playing my junior year at JV, when they didn't tell me I was going to be on varsity my junior year, I quit. And I said, screw it, I'm done. And it was my biggest regret of my life of not just saying, I'm going to go work my ass off all summer, come back in my best shape of my life, and I'm going to go play, I'll play another year of JV basketball, light it up, and then go get called up, force their hand to play me. I took my ball and literally quit, and I never forgave myself for doing it. And that's why I went back into broadcasting and be around sports. So that's why I wish I was better. I can't bet soccer. I don't really watch soccer. Again, I played soccer like a hockey player. I was really violent playing soccer. My foot coordination wasn't great. I just was fearless. I could jump and run, and I could run like the wind. I could still run like the wind, but I just didn't have the skill set that like soccer players normally are short. 6 foot tall soccer players aren't really all that common except we get like the professional. Yes, I was a pitch goon. Great way to describe the way I played soccer. Yeah, I was the soccer version of a goon. Not a lot of skill, a lot of physicality, beat the hell out of a lot of people. You teased it a little bit about where we're going, and we've got it now. These are the dates of the official BVB road trips. We are headed to Franklin, Kentucky.
Let's go!
On Wednesday, March the 12th. We will be there in the afternoon. The exact time to be determined still, but we will be there on the 12th, the Mint in Franklin, Kentucky for a BVB road trip, thanks to our friends at Circus Sports and Circus Sports Kentucky. So mark this down on your calendars. We are just under a month away from going back on the road, this time going to the great state of Kentucky, to the Mint, to the Circus Sports Kentucky Sportsbook that's going to be there. And I, for one, cannot wait. I haven't broadcasted from Kentucky before, so this is fun. I've been to Kentucky a bunch, but I've never been to doing broadcasts from Franklin, Kentucky. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Never been to Nashville, never been to Kentucky. This is going to be the 2-team parlay of this trip.
It's only 25 miles north. It's really close to Nashville.
30 miles, yeah.
Yeah, it's not hard at all. To be there. Dave's Daily Picks coming down. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for coming in. Looking forward to seeing as many people as possible for you guys to come in. Will the Mint serve mint juleps? I'm going to say yes. It's Kentucky after all. So I'm going to say yes.
I don't know.
It's an hour and a half away from the Elijah Craig Distillery. I've already looked this up.
There you go.
So I may need to try to figure out a way to get over to the Elijah Craig Distillery. You can bottle your own Elijah Craig. You can go and make your own drink. You make your own concoction. I've been looking into this. I'm very excited about all this. It's going to be fun. Joseph Mogan coming up. All right, let's go.
I'll see you in person, Joe Mogan. That's awesome.
Come on up. It's going to be fun.
Awesome.
So, all right, we're going to Nashville hot chicken. I mean, I guess so. I mean, when in Rome, I guess. Oh, Brandon Marcone, me and you. It's my favorite whiskey too. So that's good. So we're going to have some fun at the distillery. I haven't gone to a Kentucky distillery before, except I wasn't old enough, but I went to, when I was like 18, 19 years old, I went to the, in Lynchburg, Tennessee, I went to the Jack Daniels distillery, right? But I couldn't drink. So I wasn't old enough to drink, so I couldn't do it. Yes, very similar to Willy Wonka, 100%. Yes, me walking around and trying like the great everlasting gobstopper. Absolutely.
That's good.
Be like Veruca Salt and turn into a big blueberry. And it turned like a big vat of whiskey. I'm in. Let's go.
You'll be doing that on your own. That'll be great. I'll probably be going down to Vanderbilt and like just driving around.
Yeah, so I'm looking. I'm efforting for us to. I'm talking to Nissan, so Nissan may be involved with this trip as well for us. So there may be a way of us that they're checking their inventory for different vehicles and whatnot. So we may have an official vehicle sponsor for the trip coming up.
That's great
with us in Nashville. Although beautiful. Going to a bourbon tour and driving a Nissan might not be something they appreciate, but who knows? We'll see how that winds up going. So that's the first show. There could be a second show on that trip coming in March. Stay tuned. Okay. For that. So that's just Wednesday. There may be others to announce for the Kentucky trip. The following week, if you guys are able to travel to Las Vegas for the first weekend of the NCAA tournaments, we are back at Resorts World live on Thursday and Friday.
Hello.
BVB weekend at Resorts World, March 20th and 21st for the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
Again, the exact time of the show to be determined, but we will be live on the air both Thursday and Friday.
Yep.
Game 1, day 1, and day 2 of the NCAA tournament. Yes, the play-ins are Monday, Tuesday, but the actual bracket begins on Thursday and on Friday. We're back at Resorts World again for 2 shows the following week after we go to Kentucky. We're in Vegas. So if you can't come to Kentucky, you want to come to Vegas, Resorts World, March 20th and 21st, that Thursday and Friday for us live at Resorts World at most likely the same spot that we have been at before with the Red Tail Lounge.
Yes.
So that's great food, great drinks, easy to get in and out.
Tremendous place to watch the games. We had such a good time for the college football playoff. You know, we did the Thursday, Friday there. This will be a similar type setup. You know, you can go in there. That wall of TVs will have all the games. They have a betting kiosk, 1 or 2 of them in there. You can go to the book, load up an account. You can take a walk through the casino. It's about a 3-minute walk to the book. So it's around the corner. It's by Zook Nightclub.
Yes, right.
Sights,
you can,
sounds.
Close to the strip with the walk off from the district,
Yes.
they call it.
Yes.
That entrance
exactly.
to the district for Resorts World. So you guys can come and see us Thursday and or Friday. I know you guys like the lead time to be able to make arrangements. So if you're West Coast and you can't come to the Mid-South for our show the week prior, know that we're going to be out and about at Resorts World. So Circus Sports.
That's what we're going with, Mid-South? Is that what we're going with?
It is officially the Mid-South.
All right.
Not with it. Kentucky and Tennessee is part of the Mid-South. That is the official geographical description of where it's located. So we're going to the Mid-South.
TJ coming?
As far as he has told me, yes. So I'm efforting to guarantee
no pressure.
that. But he told me he will meet me in Nashville. So he may not
come up to Franklin.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
but he'll be in Nashville.
That's fine.
So we'll see him for the tournament because Alabama's probably going to be around for a while in that tournament. So a lot of excitement. He's a big Roll Tide guy. So we got going on with that. Oh, wow. Hold on a second. There is a channel in the Discord for the Kentucky trip already. How about that?
Hello.
SoCal DGen already setting it up.
SoCal DGen so go to thebvbshow.com, click the link, get in the Discord. There's a channel there set up for the Kentucky trip. Set up another one for the Vegas trip if you want.
Yeah.
If not, just connect that way. So many of you guys and girls have done that already and exchanged information and then done your own meetups. Like, we'll do the show. The plan for me is to, get there Tuesday at some point and then do whatever. You're going to go to Elijah Craig and do whatever it is you do. That's fine. I'll probably do some other things. And we may be in touch with AB about getting down there. I'm trying to get a place. Well, if we get that other thing set up where we do the show Wednesday, hang out at the Mint. We'll do the show Thursday at somewhere down there on Broadway or whatever, and then go to the games, and then we'll get back to Vegas, do our prep work for Selection Sunday.
Wrong week, JR. Wrong week.
That's the following week. We're going to be in Vegas for the
That Tuesday.
I'm not going to Dayton Tuesday, Wednesday. Hell no.
That's the next week.
Got to do the show on Thursday, Friday now.
Yeah, wrong week for that.
Yeah,
how that goes.
Yeah,
because St. Patrick's Day is the following.
Oh, it's that week.
Yeah, it's a Thursday, right?
It's Monday.
Oh, it's a Monday again. St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. Okay.
It's a Monday. Selection Sunday is the 16th.
Yes. And then, oh, wow.
Monday the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. 18-19 play-in, 2021, Thursday and Friday of the tournament.
I still need to see the Chicago River turn green. Still need to see that.
In person?
Yeah. I've been on that river. I've taken the river tour. I've done that. I just haven't seen the river return green during St. Patrick's Day. Need to see that. Be fun. I would love, look at Alex. I would love a Dayton show, hometown show. UD Arena is awesome. I tell people all the time, it's such a cool place to see a basketball game. You guys absolutely love the first four. It's just like Omaha with the College World Series. The NCAA should never leave. And we'll talk about the tournament expanding because they're going to run into some problems, I think, realizing that not everywhere is like Dayton. You guys will go watch basketball. Doesn't matter who's playing. You want basketball. Not everybody wants no-name state playing no-name state in their backyard and will pay money to actually go see it. You guys will in Dayton.
I don't know who needs to hear this. Can you please not mess with the tournament?
Hold on before we get into it. Yeah,
I
we'll get into it. No, CBW. I will never do the Chicago River Tour in April ever again. I don't care what Amanda asked me. Just no. I did it once. That's it.
It was a one and done.
It was a one and done. I am not doing that again.
She got you. That's good. That's great. Okay. We don't need to do that again. We'll do that in the summer.
There's a picture of us on that tour over there, actually. So, no.
No. So, Alex, make it happen. I mean, I driven through Dayton, never stayed or done anything in Dayton, but we'd love to come to Ohio. Brother Doug's in Columbus. I'm working with him and Brent, the bomber.
See, you're right. St. Louis, right. We haven't made a BVB St. Patrick's Day hat. We do need to make that happen. That's a great point. We do need to have that be. It's a great idea.
I'll talk to the kid today.
Yeah, we need a St. Patrick's Day
I'll talk to the kid today because I think I'm going to get a batch made for Nashville. That are just like, road show. I don't know what I'm going to talk to the kid today, come up with a basic model. So if you guys show up and you want a hat, they'll be available. That's a good idea. A St. Patty's Day hat. We got time to get those done and out. All right. We'll see.
I like that idea. That's a great idea. All right. What happened last night? This is wild. Kansas was handed their worst loss as a ranked team to an unranked team ever last night. They went to BYU and got absolutely blown off the court. 91-57, and the game wasn't even that close.
Just remember now, again, for all of you that go, boy, how do odds makers do it? Sports books, no. All this other stuff. The line was 2. Just remember, it was BYU -2.
Open -1.
You just say thank you and move on. But there's a lot of games for everyone that, you do Eagles and Commanders, and it's Eagles -3 and 44.5's the total, and it finishes 24-21. Everybody goes, wow, the books knew. How did they know? There's a basketball game like this last night where we said it on this show. I went down to that conference and said, guys, I don't know if you're aware, but BYU is probably one of the best plays on the board tonight. And then we watched the first half after I got off the air. It was done at halftime.
20 points. It was over. 20-point game. And somehow the game stayed under for me. Somehow 148.5 came in.
Yeah.
It fell 148. So they didn't know about the total. They were right about the total. They were right when it came in on that. So I bet the under and got the under that game. BYU money line was an easy walk to the counter. That was
one of the best bets of the year.
Yeah, that was simple. That was nowhere. I mean, look, Kansas is garbage. I love Jay Billis, but Jay Billis, just not his fault, but ESPN asked him to put out his ranking for the 68 teams that are currently in the bracket right now for bracketology to rank them 1 to 68. And he put Kansas as 15th in the country. I was like, Jay, they're not 35th in the country, let alone 15th in the country.
So in that situation, because you've talked about it and how people and other people that I've done shows would talk about it, how, they give the grad assistant the list and say, rank these teams and turn it in.
Coaches poll, correct.
Do you think that Jay sat down and wrote those?
Yes. No way he would not do that. 100%. He had to have done that. There's no way you would allow your name to be associated with something like that without you actually writing it. But it probably took a long time. To me, it felt like he wrote it before the trip to Utah because they lost. They lost to Utah by 7, and then they lost last night 91-57. So they went 0-2 on the trip to Utah, and they got killed against BYU.
But again, so if you've been listening to you on the Juice and here and us together here, and then me and Wetzel on Sports Grid, this is Kansas. This is who they are.
Look, last night.
I mean, not blowout Central, but they're not Kansas.
Right. But Brian's right. I mean, Bill Self's press conference after the game, he said, we have to get away from each other. He said, I hope that by coming on this trip, it was going to bond us. We need time to get away from each other. This team does not want to be around each other. Like, that's a really big statement from a
Said that
coach.
publicly?
Yes, publicly. This team needs to get away from each other. So clearly there is some stuff being said internally. Look, Dickinson is not a guy I'd want to play with.
Wow.
He's a whiner. He's a complainer. He's a guy who got his money in the – this is to your point about what you have said in the NIL world about the changes that are happening from players that are going to be content with making $1 million from college basketball or college football. They're not worried about the next level anymore. They're not interested. Hey, if I get drafted, so what? The fire is extinguished because they get a ton of money and they're literally fat and happy. They're good. They're like, hey, I got mine. I'm good. What do I care if I win? What do I care? I got paid at Michigan. I'm getting paid at Kansas. I'm good. He's made a couple of million the last couple of seasons. The guy just doesn't look like a player who wants to be in college or wants to be on a beach somewhere spending his money.
It's very hard when one kid's getting it and the rest aren't.
Yep.
And then that kid isn't the best / hardest working team guy.
Yep.
Now you've alienated everybody, not just the guy, selfish guy at the top that got the bag, but the guy who's trying to make it and is very grateful to be at Kansas making $200,000 or whatever he's getting.
Right.
Wants to win and realizes he's not going to play at the next level. This is what he's got. He's trying to get his degree as well as his life. And it breaks up. There's no team. It becomes very selfish, very disjointed. And a guy who's had success as a coach has no idea how to talk to these kids. No one's on the same page. It sucks.
Seth Greenberg said it at halftime, or at least going into halftime. He said, I've watched a lot of Bill Self teams over the years. This is the most disjointed team I've ever seen for Bill Self. They don't fit together. The pieces do not work. And it's been, look, this is something that we have talked about, other people have talked about the landscape of college sports shifting. And a lot of these coaches who weren't necessarily prepared to have to fight like a Cincinnati for a player, because all of a sudden these schools, hey, we can legally offer this much money, where you guys had to go through like 4 or 5 different bells and whistles and hoops to get $1 million under the table. Cincy's just coming out straight on the recruiting visit saying, I'll match whatever KU is going to offer you. And Kansas is like, wait, what do I have to do? You're not worth $1 million. Well, that school's taken that player, and that player may have been the linchpin of the whole season. He may have worked in that locker room. He may have worked on the court. And now that guy's not there, and the entire team has become just a mess. It's a different spin now in college basketball.
It's a different spin. And now the reality of it was hard before to get a kid to go to Lawrence, Kansas to play basketball.
Right.
It wasn't as hard when you were still one of the best 10 teams in the country with a storied program and a coach. And you were paying probably more or better than a lot of teams were. Now everybody's paying.
Right.
Everybody's paying. So that's been leveled off. So now I'm going to go to Miami, Florida, where there's a lot of co-eds, there's a lot of sunshine, or I'm going to go to Lawrence, Kansas.
Right.
And now, wait a second, we don't win? Like, hold on. All of these blue bloods are going to have an issue. They're 1-year contracts. It's going to be a lot of turnover. It goes fast, bad.
It's 5 guys, right? I mean, basketball is different. College football may take a recruiting cycle or two to really catch up. But for college basketball, it's very, very quick. I mean, BYU has the #1 recruit in the country going there next year. He's a kid from Massachusetts. He's going to go play. He played a JUCO, or he played a prep year in Utah, and he's going to play for BYU because BYU wrote the biggest check to go get the kid. Like, this is a different environment than what we've seen before in college basketball, where that kid would go to Duke, Carolina, maybe Kansas, maybe Michigan State once in a while. Now it's BYU. Now it's other programs that are BYU's a power conference team now. They weren't before. They are now.
And
so
they tell them it's like he tells them it's going to be a 1-year deal. If I go to the NBA, I'm coming there 1 year.
Correct.
Whereas before, schools like that would be like, well, then we're not interested. We don't want to do the one and done. Now everybody will do the one and done, right? There's a lot of schools that before wouldn't be even consider it.
I mean, Carolina sucks. Kansas sucks. I mean, these are weird. If it wasn't for Cooper Flagg, Duke would be terrible. I mean, Duke is an average basketball team without Cooper Flagg. I mean, Cooper Flagg is that team. He's unbelievable. He's a generational talent. But you look around at the Blue Bloods and what we've traditionally thought, the SEC is dominating college basketball, and it's not Kentucky. Kentucky's good, but it's not Kentucky. Number one team in the country is Auburn, Alabama. Like you start looking at these conferences, you're like, wait, what? Because we're in a different world where if you get 2 or 3 recruits, you pay them. Other recruits want to go and play there too. If you get a coach who can coach, I mean, the guys who are look, Bruce Pearl is a Boston guy. I love Bruce Pearl, coached at Boston College. He's as greasy as it gets. Okay. Like he's been bending rules and twisting things with the NCAA for a very long time. It's no secret and it's no shock that Bruce Pearl is doing very well in the quote unregulated NIL world because Bruce Pearl has always operated in the unregulated NIL world. He can just do it on the up and up now versus hiding it.
Well, whatever it's doing, it's working. And I just think that literally there, like Pitbull just said it, there's no continuity. What did people expect?
Fair.
I don't think they cared. They didn't. Now they're going to care. It's going to have ramifications. You saw coaches, legends, just leave the game. Just go, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this
Tony
anymore.
Bennett just up and quit.
Just right before the season.
Bye.
Like, some big names have left in the past year, 2 years. I think you'll see. I can't believe that he said that out loud at a press conference. We need to get away from each other.
Yep.
It's February 19th. This is time to get real close with each other to get serious for the end. This sounds like an automatic fade the rest of the way. We've been fading them here on the show, but man, you got to really wonder how it's going to change. We don't need more tournament teams. Jim
Larinaga quit. I mean, this is a stat that Yahoo Sports put out today. Auburn's starting 5 is 23.2 years old, average.
These are grown men.
The Thunder is 24.1 average age for their starting 5.
So 23.2, he got seniors and
25-year-olds. There's 2 kids who are
grown-ass men.
There are 2 Auburn starters who are 25.
They should be the best team. Right. I mean, because they're playing against a lot of 18, 19-year-old and 20-year-olds maybe. Like a lot of kids are leaving after 1 year, maybe. So they go in as 19 and stay a year and then move on 20. If you can get a group of 3 or 4 good guys, monsters, to stay together for 2 years or 3 years, you can be Auburn.
I mean, look at the Creighton Blue Jays. The Creighton Blue Jays have 2 kids who are 6-year players. Kalkbrenner and Stephen Ashworth.
Aren't they married too? Like they're grown-ups. Like
I think Kalkbrenner is engaged, but yes, I know Ashworth is married. Yes.
Yeah.
They're in their mid-20s.
Right.
They're on their way in life.
Right. Yeah.
And they are, I mean, they're just older players who are sticking around because they got paid to do so. And they've been taken care of to do so. So the average age, 25, 24, 23, 22, 22. There's your starting 5.
For Auburn.
For Auburn. Yeah. Super senior, super senior, super senior, super senior, and a senior. So 5th or 6th year.
So Football Guy 97 says Ashworth has a 7-month-old.
Yes, I believe he does. Yes.
He's got a kid. These guys are married.
And they're making big money.
They literally have a job.
Big money,
play
though.
Basketball.
To stay. They made big money this year. Jays, I mean, look, I've told this story before, but the highest per capita of millionaires in America is in Omaha, Nebraska, because of Berkshire Hathaway. So the Creighton people came out and they have paid. They've taken care of. They're in this world. The Jays, it's no secret that the Jays are getting talent, and Coach McDermott has a roster full of players, including the soon-to-be 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East Conference.
I talked to someone yesterday out and about, and their kid is 14 and being recruited and all this other stuff. Told me a school in the Big Sky is paying this year every kid on the team $300,000 on basketball. Now every kid gets the same.
That was
Okay.
Creighton 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Every kid got 125. That
Right.
has stopped. Now that
Right.
stopped.
Yeah.
Now they'll pay him individually.
That's fine. If you can get someone that deserves it, okay. But everybody gets something, and everybody gets 300,000 at this school. And I was like, okay, that's good for them kids, one that really need it. That's life-changing money. A lot of you guys are working dudes and working girls. I would kill to make $300,000 in a year.
For 1
Like,
year
it's
in the big sky. So imagine what the ACC and
as
SEC
a
are paying.
54-year-old grown-up with 9 jobs,
Right.
I would kill to make $300,000 doing something that I love and I'm competing. That's a lot
For 6
of
months,
money.
by the way. For
Well,
6 months.
You still got to go to school. You still
Yeah,
got
but
to
6
do the
months.
workouts. But I'm just telling you, that's a lot of money. This is all changing. This is all we're trying to gamble like on games and handicap games and stuff. And there are kids making $300,000 a year playing basketball in the big sky.
In the big sky.
We're the idiots.
Well, you got to be 6'9" to be able to play basketball at D1 level, but if you got it, you got it.
But I mean, what is the incentive? Like that can, again, I got a great piece of advice years ago from someone, and I love it. Money accentuates who you are. If you're a good person or you have good intentions, money will exaggerate that. If you're a jagoff and you're a thief and you're looking to rob people, it will help you do that.
Right.
If you're not working to maintain your spot, but you get $300,000, that doesn't do anything for the team.
No.
So could you imagine what's going on the bus with Kansas, on the flights to and from when you get to practice?
Right. Doesn't matter.
And you're going, this guy makes $1 million, I get 100,000, and he's a schmuck.
Yep. Pissing me off, not playing, not passing, not working hard.
So how does Bruce Pearl get all of these guys, grown men, to be who they are? Because when you watch them play, they are a team.
100%. Because Bruce Pearl's a really good coach. I mean, that's the thing about college basketball coaches that have been like, a lot of them have been accused, and some of them rightfully so, of doing things that are not exactly the most on the up and up. Let's call it that. Okay. Shady, wrong, illegal, whatever you want to call it. Rick Pitino has been accused of doing all sorts of shady things. John Calipari, dating back to Marcus Camby at UMass, has been accused of doing all sorts of shady things to keep kids or get kids. But the reason why we know of their names is because those guys were all elite coaches and elite motivators of men. So just because they would be willing to skirt the rules, that's because they wanted to win. They wanted to compete, and they wanted to compete with the Dukes and the Coach K's of the world and the Roy Williams of the world, where you couldn't just roll a basketball out with the emblem of Duke or North Carolina and say, hey, kid, you want to play for me? Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I want to go play for you because you're Duke or North Carolina. Now, these coaches, I mean, Bruce Pearl's a really good coach, has been dating back to his days at Tennessee when he was on the I think he was on Dr. Tom Davis's bench at Iowa. I know he was an assistant coach at Iowa, but I mean, he's a guy who's bounced around and paid his dues and has been a winner everywhere he has gone.
Right.
And now he's got deep pockets to play with from Auburn. He's got money to go and spend. I mean, again, my friend's son is a 4-star recruit from Huntsville, Alabama. He is signed to go play with Auburn. They aren't just recruiting the top transfers.
Right.
They are also recruiting a lot of really good high school players,
right?
In-state high school players that are going to be there. So he's got a pipeline at Auburn. They're not going anywhere. Good team to watch. Fun team to watch. We had another upset last night in the Big 12. TCU took down number 9 Texas Tech. We should start paying more attention to the Big 12 because I think that tournament is going to get a little crazy. Like, it's not going to be SEC crazy, but yes, I like Iowa State to win it, but Houston's going to be right there, obviously. TCU beating Texas Tech is big for their resume. It hurts Texas Tech's resume, obviously, but anytime you have a top 10 team in a court storm, Big 12 is going to be fun.
And I saw highlights of the court storm, and they literally have what looked like mini boards that the kids had to jump over and get down, and it was a little bit of a looked like a 5 to 6 foot drop. They weren't just stepping down onto the court, and I'm like, I don't get it, man. Like, they're excited, that's fine. Court storms, you guys can do it if you want.
Could you imagine though if we were talking about TCU forfeiting? Could you imagine if the story is today? TCU wins,
terrible.
but they don't.
That's the dumbest.
It's a terrible idea.
That's a terrible idea. Yesterday, you guys were great with the bingo card, so I changed hats for you.
Oh, there you go.
Because they didn't get that space yesterday. We got the court storm mention. Put in the chat right now if you're watching Hoop Heads. Who do you think is going to win the Big 12? Because I think it's Houston.
22. I would consider Houston.
No one else?
No, not in my mind. No one else. I mean, everyone's going to say that Kansas, because where they play it, KU will figure it out. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Or K-State will figure it out. I don't think so.
Well, that was the one I was going to say.
No.
Was K-State capable?
They're playing well. I mean, K-State's playing well.
Texas Tech
just lost last night.
They just lost last night, but like that's a team that before last night would have been the other mention, I think. Sadly, not West Virginia. What we've done to West Virginia, I'm sorry, B. Howe. I can't even call. I can't even call them to come back on.
They might lose D-Rock on top of that.
Right? You mentioned that. There's Houston for Roger Long, Houston for Jimmy Football, Iowa State for Football Guy 97. Mr. C.
Arizona kidding.
Yeah,
That'd be wild.
Absolutely.
That'd be wild.
What's Covey say? Houston has depth this year minus Sheed. They basically have the same team as last year.
Right. And they're mad about what happened last year. So,
wow.
They got something to prove. Top 10 team in the SEC went down last night. Texas A&M couldn't hit the broadside of a barn to save their life. Lost the game 70-54. Mississippi State's going to be a problem. They're not going to be an easy out in the SEC tournament. And I like A&M a lot, but man, they're streaky. They couldn't shoot last night. That was brutal. Watching that going like, what the hell?
One of the things, many things that we can take away from the SEC being as deep as it is, really, really hard to win on the road.
Really hard.
Really hard to win on the road. Yeah. So, I mean, that made the Auburn win at Bama, even like that's adding as you watch all week. Ain't nobody going on the road in the SEC and really winning. So that was a big win.
Whitrock, you missed the show yesterday. I told you this. I told you this yesterday. I told you who the two candidates for Iowa are.
Yeah.
We got them both. D-Rock for West Virginia and Ben McCollum and Drake.
Yeah. That's
why I like Illinois Chicago tonight. Drake players know this. They didn't play well in their last game. It's not good when your coach is being talked about to go coach at Iowa.
Yeah.
That could be bad for a lot of those D2 kids who are playing at Drake, who transferred in from Northwest Missouri State.
Do you feel like it's, and again, it's one of those things that we've been talking about here on the show. And by the way, for those of you new to the show, again, welcome. Thank you. We've been here for almost 4 years doing the show and saying things like this, what I'm going to say. Winning on the road in college basketball has been hard in the last couple of years, harder than it was in the past, but like it's the hardest thing to do in college basketball right now. Like,
people have made the point for a while that winning on the road in college basketball is the hardest thing to do in sports. All of sports.
It's something that I don't know how we take that into the neutral sites of the conference tournaments.
That's the hook. Right.
Like, for the next 2 weeks, you really need to focus on these games. When the
home teams
are on the road.
February, I love home teams. Yes. I mean, home teams are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct, Johnny Parlay. They haven't covered in their last 5, but they covered against Drake when they played at home. They won the game. They were 4-point dogs, won the game by 6. So they've already beaten Drake. So I like them. They're catching 10.5 points tonight at home against Drake. We'll get to that and better to book it later in the program. But Wisconsin may have had the most impressive win of the night. If it wasn't for BYU, but I think that a lot of that was just KU sucking. Wisconsin is making some noise. That team scored 95 points on Illinois. Hello. They could score.
It
goes over.
This is not your even older brother's Wisconsin team. And I was going to say your dad's Wisconsin
I
team.
mean, you said like 161.5. Yeah, they blew through that.
Yeah.
See you later.
I remember I said it to Wetzel yesterday. It wasn't that long ago that we were making numbers for Wisconsin games, deciding whether we were going to put it under 120 or not. It was going to be 117 or 118 and a half or 121 and a half or 122 and a half. And it wasn't that long ago. And now, again, they've changed everything and they're a completely different team. But the Big Ten, we asked it yesterday. And when we're talking about the SEC, we're talking about the Big 12. The Big Ten has some questions of who's going to win it. Wisco was very impressive, Pierre in the cut, as is you and Dad trimming up the hair in the shop there in Indianapolis. They've been shooting the lights out, the Juice. You're right. Bo Ryan Ball is dead. JPC
no. I mean, give guard credit though. I mean, like Bo Ryan Ball, guard had to play that way for a while because that was the identity for Wisconsin. This is like watching Greg McDermott a little bit, taking what's out there from a player perspective and saying, all right, we're going to change the way we're playing. We're going to shoot threes. We're going to run. They still have the tall white kids. I mean, that's still Wisconsin basketball to have the 6'9" to 6'10", white kid on the front court. That's still them, but they can run now. I mean, they are. Whew.
Again, remember, boys and girls, that line was 3.5 or 4. Okay,
I laid 3.5. Yeah,
right. And another play that was
21.
really fun and easy to play.
Yep.
And books don't know squadoosh. Again, the number was 161.5. It finished with 169. Went over the total comfortably. So we got to start talking about how many Big Ten teams are going to make the tournament. I think
10.
You think it's 10?
Probably somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Wow, I think it's less than 10. I was going to say 8, and I thought 8 might be a stretch.
Bracketology currently has 10. 13 SEC teams and 10 Big Ten teams. 8 Big 12 teams and 4 Big East teams, 4 ACC, 3 Mountain West.
8 Big 12s?
8 Big 12, yeah.
Okay. Huh.
As of now, 3 in the Mountain West, 2 in the West Coast Conference. Big Ten's deep.
Only 3 in the Mountain West?
Yep.
Okay. And how many in the Big East? 4?
4. Because you know that, so you know that the Crown tournament is this big thing in Vegas, right? You've heard about this?
When is that?
It's in place of the NIT, basically.
Run in conjunction with or after the NCAA?
Like on the Monday, Tuesday, same way the NIT is.
Oh,
it's 16 teams. So Fox Sports and AIG Global, the inaugural tournament will be held in Las Vegas coming up. 2 automatic qualifiers from the Big East, the Big 10, and the Big 12, as well as 10 teams who are going to be at large are going to be selected.
Where are they playing this?
MGM Grand and T-Mobile.
Be going to that.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's going to be
that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So, I can't wait to see how this plays out and how they get it together. Who gets in? It's 16 teams. These are 3 Big 10, Big East, Big 12. Other teams, they'll have a chance to pick and choose what they want. So the proposal indicated that the team selected from those 3 conferences would be required to participate in the college basketball Crown tournament, which would make it impossible for them to also participate in the NIT should they be selected or receive an automatic bid to that conference, to that tournament.
Wow.
So it's literally going head to head with the NIT, but it's in Vegas.
Wait, with the NIT? The NIT still going on too?
Yes, NIT still exists. Yes, that's owned and operated, but you're taking the top line, 16 top line teams that don't make the NCAA tournament are going to get in based on net rating, are going to get an automatic bid into this thing.
Look at Johnny Parlay trying to will in all his teams, Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio State, all in Vegas.
It's possible.
That's a Big Ten guy's dream.
Illinois
right
possible.
There.
Indiana, I don't know, see how far they fall, but the NIT has been dead. You're right, Joel. It has been dead for a while, but the Crown, I mean, Fox is pumping this thing big time. Like they're pumping in this gigantic to try to make this a thing and go. and it's going to be in Vegas. I can't wait to watch it and see what the bracket looks like and who is in. But there's a lot of excitement around the Crown tournament happening here with Big Ten teams. So you could have, the SEC is going to have the entire conference play either the NCAA tournament or the Crown.
Right.
All 16 teams are going to be playing in that tournament. The Big Ten.
So what do you think a team like Kansas is going to say? Like, can you turn that bid down?
You could, sure, if you wanted to. Yeah,
we don't want to go out on another trip together.
To Vegas.
We can't stand each other as it is. Like,
fair, could happen.
Wow.
I mean, that's either we're in the big dance or we're done. Very possible that's. It would be hard to see Kansas not making the tournament at large. That would be really.
It's coming to question.
I don't think so. That would be. I mean, KU still has some really big wins. They beat Duke. Okay.
Yeah, but they could melt down the rest of the way.
Fine, but let's just say they melt down. That would be losing. What? That would be 7 straight losses going into the Big 12 tournament. But the only bad loss of that would, I guess, 2, Oklahoma State and Colorado, because their final 3 games are against number 8 Texas Tech, number 3 Houston, and number 10 Arizona.
Oh,
in KenPom.
Oh,
so it's not that bad to lose those games. You're losing to three really good teams. So they need to win the next 2 games because they may not win another game until they get to the Big 12 tournament. Yes, but KU is getting bounced in the first weekend. I would agree with that. And I think they want to get bounced in the first weekend. I don't think they want any part of it because they clearly have a difficult time being around each other. Otherwise, I'm not sure why Bill Self would have said we need to get the hell away from each other. Michigan State wins last night to keep pace in the Big Ten in Michigan, setting up that big matchup this weekend between Michigan State and Michigan, beating Purdue. I liked Purdue in that game. I was impressed. I came away going, okay, everyone's saying it, but it's true. It's January, February, Izzo. It's nearly March, and here comes Tom Izzo and Michigan State. Could be the best team in the Big 12, in the Big 10.
Especially at home.
Yeah.
They were better early. There was a little run in the middle for Purdue, and then I was watching it without sound. I ended up seeing the highlights with sound, read a little of the post-game summary. I don't know. We'll see. It's fun to have, look at Izzo, baby, from Daniel G. The 313 woke up. Wow, Johnny Parlay, Michigan State, long shot to make the Final Four.
It's Izzo.
Are we going that far?
It's Izzo. I mean, it's when you have Tom Izzo. I mean,
know. Look at Fish. Fish is in there. Go blue.
Michigan fans.
This is the thing that divides the Yuppie, the Mitten, all the people there.
Upper Peninsula.
Yeah. This is serious.
Fun game coming between this weekend. Fun game.
When is that? Friday or Saturday?
I think it's Saturday. Let me double check.
When's the Michigan?
It's Friday night.
Friday night, baby.
Michigan's at home Friday night. Michigan State Friday night. Whew, that's a banger of a game.
Favorite, right?
Right now, Michigan would be 2.
Yeah, I was going to say 2.5.
KenPom has it as a 2-point win for Michigan.
That's right.
So the line probably is 2.5 or 2, maybe 1.5.
You want to take a bet? Make it 3.
Okay.
You'll get the instantaneous Michigan State money.
All right. They'll come in. So looking forward to seeing that game on Friday. That's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of the tournament, here is your report from ESPN.
I'm pissed off with this.
The NCAA tournament very well might be expanding to 76 teams as early as next season.
I'm done with this.
So by that, I was going to ask you, how do you feel about that? But I'm guessing you're not feeling all that good about it. Pete Thamel of ESPN on the expansion of this per multiple high-ranking sources. It'll go to 76 teams. The NCAA and its media partners remain in discussions with the decision likely within the next few months. Expansion to 76 would mean a likely additional site to join Dayton, which would be expected to be outside of the Eastern time zone, most likely out west. My gut would be Vegas is where they're going to send the teams to. The details of what 8 additional teams would look like are still being hashed out, and the sources stress that there are plenty of complications. The women's tournament would be expected to grow to 76 teams alongside of it if there is expansion. 76. You want to add 8 more teams?
No.
I agree.
Enough.
I agree.
The tournament is perfect. like you messed it up and you added this Dayton thing, and it works now. Like we've accepted it. Change is good when it's for the better. You're messing this up. You're adding more crap. We don't need more crap. Will, I'm doing my best to keep it clean. I talked to the big guy this morning. He said he gets a report. I don't want no reports. I don't want nothing. So
he gets a report. Oh, God.
It's a report every time me and you let it loose.
Oh, wow.
At least we qualify.
What happens when it's a guest?
Will.
What happens on us?
That's
And a guest is doing it. All right.
We're off the hook. That's why we need guests. So Marcus Boy, you want to come on here, Marcus? Kyle, whatever you want to call yourself. Come on and let it fly. No, this is caca. Crap. Sorry, Will. This is shit.
There you go.
What are we doing? Why? Why do we? You're a hoop head. I love college basketball. The madness, the tournament is March. We need another. We get 76 teams. When do we start this?
Same
Monday?
time. Same thing. Yeah. Just it would be games in a different location. That's what they're saying. They're going to add a West Coast play-in location. So Monday, Tuesday. There'll be 4 games Monday, Tuesday, and 4 games Monday, Tuesday. Dayton will have one.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah.
Or Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday. That's what they do now.
So you'll just move it around.
So those teams are at a double disadvantage. Now you're going to add more double disadvantage teams because they have to play an extra game and take an extra trip. Everybody got to go to Dayton, then they got to go to the neutral site game.
Yeah.
And play 3 games in a week versus 2 for everyone else. We need more mediocre basketball. This sounds like a great idea. Who wants this?
NCAA folks, more money. TV partners, more games. Gambling folks, more handle. That's who wants this.
You go to the arenas? Like you go to these arenas?
Have I gone to the play-ins?
There's a lot of seats open at these.
Not in Dayton, there's not. I mean, that's the thing. Dayton is a very unique market. Dayton buys the tickets and goes to the games because they love college basketball. Now, will you send this to Vegas? Like, I think if you played this in Vegas, it would be crickets. I don't know where you could send this on the West Coast that would get anywhere here.
NIT here. I went to the game in New Orleans, and there were 2,000 people there.
We didn't know.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
For the final. There was nobody there. There was no buzz in town. The NIT, they're like, what is that? You know, I finished the show right over. South Point had a box. We hung out in the box. It was nobody there.
Nobody there.
There were more people at the what conference is Grand Canyon in?
The
conference.
So goodness. WAC, Western Athletic Conference.
There was more people at that game.
Yeah.
And it was the school, so it was fun. Trying to get 2 neutral site teams to come to either LA or Vegas is not coming to Dayton.
The question, though, I think if you put it into trying to think of a college basketball crazed market on the West Coast that's not a major market, like not a Phoenix, not an LA, not a Vegas, but like, because Spokane, Washington would be my pick, but it's too hard to get there. Like Spokane's impossible. Maybe Boise. Put it in Boise, Idaho. Put it in Boise. It'll work in Boise. They'll support there. You'll freeze your ass off in March, but they'll go there.
So we're gonna have, like, I don't know. Pick a team from the WAC.
North Carolina State. North Carolina.
Good one. Okay. Yeah, they're going to go and play the 16-16 game.
Yeah. In Boise, Idaho.
New Mexico. Saying it out loud sounds like a
New Mexico,
horrific idea.
I agree with Brian here. Yeah. New Mexico at the Pit. I like that idea. Sure. Albuquerque would support it. Sure. I like it. Yeah, that could work. Same thing. Boise and Albuquerque are kind of the same, and just one's north, one's south. Same travel.
Do we diminish the level of making the tournament if more
100%.
and more teams make
100%.
the tournament? The
100%.
magic of March is not just the big tournaments, the postseason tournaments. It's these little conferences that somebody catches fire for 3 days and they celebrate with the T-shirts and the thing, and we're going to March. Well, no, actually, we're not. We're going to Dayton to play, to maybe get to the madness, to go get destroyed by a 1 seed. I don't know.
God,
I don't know if we need more of that.
I wish that back in the day, like today, when someone makes a comment on your shows, you've got audio, you have video, you have YouTube clips, you have YouTube shorts, you've got all these different things. The best clip that was ever said at the time, the coach of Missouri State came on my show in Omaha and said exactly what you just said. He said, "We are the magic, because we are the ones that make this tournament go. The mid-majors, the Missouri States of the world. We are the ones, the Valparaisos. We have put the George Masons. We put this tournament on the map. We made this thing what it is by taking away us and making it either harder for the little guy to get in, or just making it more of a big guy show and keeping the little guy out. You are taking away from what this thing has been made to be." And I couldn't agree more. And it was said in 2005. And we're 20 years later sitting here having the same conversation. And now we're going to expand, because to your point, the expansion of this tournament to 76 doesn't mean we go to the Missouri Valley Conference and pull 4 teams out of the Missouri Valley. We're not doing that. We're going to pull the 15th team out of the SEC. That's who we're going to go and get. We're not going to get, Indiana State is not going to get into the dance now. It's going to be South Carolina. Like, it's going to be like a joke team to do it. Barry Hinson's the coach I'm talking about, guys, not Quanzo Martin. Barry Hinson left. Quanzo Martin was the second coach, but it was Barry Hinson, who then was on the Kansas bench for a while. I don't know where Barry Hinson is. I should go look up Barry Hinson, have him come back on the show and say the same exact thing, because he was right 20 years ago, and he's right now about the fact that this tournament, if it meant more mid-majors, more Mountain West Conference, more West Coast Conference, more WAC schools got in, I'd be all about it. But that's not what this is for. Like, this is not for the little guy. This is for the ACC. This is for the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, to get more teams into the tournament.
I love talking about South Dakota State.
True.
Every year.
Oh, yeah. Mike Dahm and TJ Ossenberger. And it was all,
I absolutely love it. Yeah. And one of the best things about living here is the week before the NCAA tournament, the 2 weeks before, even, because they start coming here for these postseason tournaments.
Right.
And I get to go watch like Utah Tech play. We had more fun with the kids at that Grand Canyon WAC game.
Yep.
Like,
awesome.
It was so much fun. And we went down to the arena in Henderson and watched, I think it was that the Big Sky when Long Beach State was in it?
Yes,
and
Big Sky. Yeah. In Henderson, we went to Dollar Loan Center.
Loan Center in Henderson. I went on Sunday. What's that?
Hinson's at Okie State. Is this true? Somebody confirm this. Is this true? Well, you know who the coach of Okie State is, right?
Yeah.
Our boy.
What's his name?
Yeah, Lutz.
Coach
right.
Lutz. Yeah.
So if that's true, we can get Barry Hinson. He's a text message away. I'll text Lutz right now. We'll see if we get Hinson tomorrow on the show. I'll see what he's up to. If that's true, he's at Oklahoma State. That's tremendous. I didn't know that.
All right.
That's great. Anyways,
but I was saying how I went to the championship game of that Big Sky and watched. They won. Mm-hmm. They beat, I think it was Santa Barbara, Cal State Santa Barbara, whatever. But
Fullerton, wasn't it?
Whatever it was, or Fullerton. I can't remember. But when they won, and the parents were literally crying.
Yeah.
Like as they're taking pictures and they're going to the dance and they're in the tournament, all of this work all season, the accomplishment and everything, what it meant to them.
Oh,
it's to us, it's another line on the bracket, and it's a bet on a game. We can't lose that. Like, and the more you dilute that, you would say we already have.
Some cynics would say we already have lost that, but I'm with you. I'm with you, because the tournament is still, I've said this before, I'll say it again. The greatest sporting event this country has ever put on is the NCAA tournament. The Super Bowl is the Mecca, but it's one game.
Right.
The NCAA tournament is 3 weeks, and it doesn't just get you a major market audience. It's not about New York and Philadelphia and Kansas City and Houston and Boston. It's about small town America It's about Columbia, Missouri. You know, it's about Lawrence, Kansas. It's about these schools that have had, you know, their flyover country. But for the NCAA tournament, we're all paying attention. We're all watching this for 3 weeks. It brings in people. Before gambling became the big thing, the bracket pool was the thing everybody did. It was, you know, the way of connecting with somebody across your office that you never talked to before. But you're all in that $5 bracket pool, and you're all filling out that bracket.
Yep.
And you get someone's daughter who does it based upon the mascots or the team colors or whatever it is. And she winds up winning the thing. And you're talking for 3 weeks about some crazy run for some Cinderella team that's got no business. We now know who Sister Jean is. We had no idea who Sister Jean was before the tournament. And now we know everyone knows who Sister Jean is. You say it, and everyone knows automatically. So that's the power of what this thing does. Even if you're not a huge college basketball fan, you're still glued to it and watching. And when you go to Vegas, we've talked about this before. The second weekend in Vegas is actually the sneaky better weekend to go. But Thursday and Friday is sort of a bucket list thing. It's 16 games on Thursday, 16 games on Friday.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. It's all day. Games. People are betting wonky things. First to 5, first to 10, first to 20. 16 games of it.
It starts at 9 a.m. The first game tips. The last game finishes at 9 or 10 p.m. Nonstop basketball, waves of emotion up and down. It's awesome. But the conference tournament week here, awesome. The second week from 16 to 4 in the big tournament is fantastic in Vegas. Less crowds, you know, more freedom to move around. And by then, everything's free. The cost of the parties is a lot less. So it's cost effective. I don't know. It's all good. I think this dilutes everything and it makes it worse. I don't see any positive in it. I see nothing positive. And I'm a positive person. I want to hear the argument why this is good. Other than money.
Yeah, money. That's all it is money. It's more money and more power conference schools getting in. It's what it is. It's the chance to play. They'll have it where all 12 seeds and all 11 seeds, all 15 seeds and all 16 seeds will be played for. You're going to play your way into the bracket.
So those celebrations the week before or the 2 weeks before in your conference tournament won't mean squadoosh.
Depends on how you feel about the play-in, right? Do you feel like the first 4 are actually, that would be first 8, whatever you want to call it? Do you feel like those games are actually tournament games, or are those just play-in games?
They're playing
That's how I feel too. The tournament says it's the first round. That's what the NCAA says. It's the first round. It's what it is. It's the first round. Whatever. No, it's not. It's not in the tournament. But UCLA went from Dayton to the Final Four. We have seen teams.
It can happen.
So that's their argument would be that give us more chances, like for UCLA, to make a run and win 5 games in a row to get to the tournament, get to the Final Four. It doesn't happen all that often, but that's the argument. It's hard to determine between the last bubble teams that are on, like right now, bracketology today. It always changes every day, but for today, if you look at ESPN's bracketology, the last 4 in are San Diego State, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Wake Forest. Your first 4 out are VCU, Georgia, SMU, and North Carolina. And your next 4 out are Indiana, Xavier, Kansas State, and UC Irvine. Those 8 teams would all be in if we expanded 8 more teams. All those bubble teams, SEC, Big 12, ACC, Big 10, Big East, Big 12. There's 2 teams that play in non-power conferences, VCU and UC Irvine. 6 of those 8 teams are power conference teams that get in. That's what they want. That's what they want.
Well, then this tournament that's coming to Vegas and along with the NIT, they'll be gone.
Well,
what the hell? How would you even fill those?
You could.
Why would anybody want to play those?
Because it's the same thing. There'll still be teams there'll still be teams out there that want to keep playing, if nothing less for the practice or the opportunity to go and travel, get a free trip out of it. You can field it. There's plenty of teams that would. You're just not going to get a lot of blue bloods. You're not going to get a lot of name brand schools in that tournament. It's going to be like Seton Hall.
Those buildings, right? Good luck filling those buildings.
Yeah, it can be teams like out of the Big East, like teams like Seton Hall that would.
Oh gosh, CBW. Don't even say it. Imagine arguing over
Yes,
which team
and we
deserves
will.
what,
There will be
76?
arguments. 100% there'll be arguments about that. That's just the way we are. You're playing 360 teams playing D1 basketball. You're going to argue about number 76, number 77. That's going to happen. We're not just arguing, though.
The draft.
We're not just arguing today about basketball, however, because in New Orleans today, the SEC and the Big Ten ADs are meeting about college football expansion.
They can't get enough of prosperity.
They are talking about expanding to either 14 or 16 teams. And they're not just talking, like they are really getting ready to do this. Momentum to expand it very soon to 14 or 16 teams. Do you care if they go to 14 or 16? Does the number matter to you?
No.
If they're going to expand
another round, I mean, do you still get the buys? Do you still get the home games? Do you still get this? I mean, like, what are we doing?
So here's what they're arguing on a 14-team playoff. It'll be a 4-4-2-2-1-1 model in which the top 2 seeds receive first-round buys. There would be no buys in a 16-team structure. But what you would see are in a 14 or 16 team model, you get 4 automatic qualifiers for each, the SEC and the Big Ten. You would get 2 automatic qualifiers from the ACC and the Big 12, 1 to the highest group of 5 ranked champion, and either 1 or up to 3 at-large spots intended for Notre Dame if it finished inside the top 14 to guarantee that the Irish would be part of a college football playoff. Here's the problem.
So they're making their own tournament.
If you have 4 teams, 4 automatic bids from the SEC in the Big Ten, there is no point of having a Big Ten or SEC championship game. That goes away.
Which is what I said in the fall.
Which sucks.
These were going to go away.
That sucks. Why would you give, and arguably, I mean, look, this is going to be pushed back heavily by the Big 12 and the ACC. They are not in favor of this. The Big 12 and the ACC are like, screw you. We want no part of this. But I don't know how the Big 10 and the SEC really have to listen. They can do whatever they want right now. But you wouldn't play a Big 12 title game. You wouldn't play an ACC title game. They're gone. All the title games are gone, which stinks because now we're not determining the conference champion on the field. That sucks. Now it's a tiebreaker. Like, I think that's so dumb that it's one of the beautiful things about playing in a conference title game. You're the outright champion, no dispute, undisputed. You hang the championship banner. You won the conference. And for teams in the Big Ten and the SEC, that can be as big as winning the NCAA tournament, win the national championship. You win your conference. It's a big damn deal. Win your conference.
If there's no advantage to playing the conference championship game, they're not going to play the conference championship game.
Fair. That's why it should be 1 bid, 1 automatic, not 4.
I mean, again, they just make their own rules. Why would you give them 4? Any conference,
right? Any conference.
Okay, you guys are the biggest, and the baddest, and you got 16 teams. You get 2. Everybody with 16 teams gets 2, and if you have less than 16 teams, your conference gets 1. Win it. Go play in the conference championship game. If you play really good in the conference championship game, you could get it in 2. That's it. But I don't know. Leave it 8. Leave it. Let's leave it 8 for another year or 2 before we talk about expanding and get more crap. You know, we don't need more crap. Again, with this, more is better. Sometimes less is more.
They don't think that way. In college football, they don't think that way. College basketball, they don't think that way.
Diluting the product. Fish said, let's put more emphasis on Ohio State and Michigan. Okay. Winning the game is more important than that conference championship game. It has been, Fish. It has been. You're right. I like that. Pitbull 59. Thank you, sir. Awesome conversation. You guys are the best. We'll see you at the Mint. You're damn right we will. That's great.
But I think for me on this, I have long said I wanted 8. I'm completely comfortable with 8. I want 5 conference champions. I want 3 at-large bids, and that's it. Go play it, and we're done. I don't like our current situation. You have to be given some type of reward for winning your conference. And if you don't win the Big Ten, you should be fighting for your life to get in as an at-large bid. If you lose the conference championship, you should be thinking about, am I one of the 8 best teams in the country? If I make the SEC championship game and lose, I should be one of the 8 best teams in the country. And I should be able to get in with 3 at-large bids. You can be like, well, the Irish take one of those bids. Fine. They're afraid of lawsuits. Even in the same article, there's Group of 5 leaders are prepared to potentially fight expansion upon their one automatic access spot, according to comments from the American Athletic Conference Commissioner Tim Parenti to Yahoo Sports, essentially saying, we're going to sue you. If you guys take all the spots in the musical chairs left for one for us, we're going to sue you, which is the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. But because college sports is not a league, college sports is a conglomerate made up of all sorts of public and private institutions and all sorts of money that's wishy-washy. It's all gray. So it's very difficult to navigate this. And it's why we didn't have this for so long. We didn't have a playoff for so long. And now we have one. And folks
we can't keep it.
We can't keep it.
We have to change it. We have to make sure the big conferences get the best deals and the most teams in.
Screw little guy. Yeah.
Right. It's again, I see King of Car Seats. I see you working right here. Can't wait to take the 16 seed plus 23.5. We're going to get games like this. There's going to be bad mismatches, and then we're going to complain that the games are no good.
Yeah.
And then and they're not competitive. So they're going to complain anyway.
And they weren't competitive this year.
Let's keep it 8 because the games started out.
Well, it's 12. Remember, it's 12. We have 12 now. I want 8. It was 12 with the buys that were super. There are 4 teams with buys, which was dumb.
It's enough.
Right. 8's enough. I agree. But they have 12 and they want to go to 14. Now they want to go to 16.
We don't need more.
No, I want less.
It's fine what we have. Let's figure this out. Let's do this good for a couple years and accept the fact that the home teams are going to have an advantage. They've earned it. That the home teams have an advantage because they're better.
Yeah,
but I just touchdown favorites or more almost every time.
Just change. Boise State should never ever again have a bye.
That's what they got to fix, right? They just got to fix the teams that listen.
Never
want to get a bye, go to the Big Ten or go to the SEC and be in that conference because that's who's going to get the buys. Just accept the fact that if you're Boise, you ain't getting a bye when you win the Mountain West. That's it. That's the deal.
Now, if you want to talk about it, it's 4-4 in a lot of ways too, because there's no Pac-12. There will be later, but you can do 4 power conference teams, 1 at large or 1 automatic for a Power 5, and 3 at large bids. It works like that works right now, but that's not what they're going to do because they want the buys, and it's ridiculous how we play it. Yes, unbalanced schedules.
You're right, Joel.
Are jerks. Are unfair. That's true.
It's completely.
But that's because you have 16 team and 18 team conferences right now.
Correct.
Doesn't work. The Big Ten's got 18 teams. 18 teams. It's ridiculous. You can't play a balanced schedule with 18 teams. Doesn't work.
No one thought of this.
They did, but they just kept on adding because they didn't care about basketball. Home and homes in basketball don't exist. It's why the Valley was so fun for so many years because you had a true home and home. 12 teams. You play on the road. It's great. 22 games in conference. 11 at home, 11 on the road. It worked. Nope, not anymore. Now it's way too many. 16, 18 teams. Can't work. Doesn't, you have different schedules with different teams. It's like, when did you play them? How did you play them? I liked it when the Big Ten had it, where you played a division and you played everybody in your division. Now they get rid of that. All those things are gone. So it's just,
I don't know. It's not settling the argument. That's for sure.
No, not at all. College basketball tonight. Number 1 Auburn is in action. They're laying 16 to Arkansas.
Before we get to the games, can we get to the bottom story while we're still the Vermont thing?
Sure. First story. This would get to the state of Vermont has introduced a bill to repeal online sports betting. They are the first to issue a bill after legalization to repeal it. To say we've seen it, we've seen over the abyss, and we don't like what we see. We want to go backwards.
What do you think is behind this?
So I had a long talk with Amanda about this. This is because she had some interesting thoughts on this. Because she basically said, "How many people in Vermont actually bet?" She said, how many people do you think actually in Vermont are gambling?
Mhm.
Well, it's a really good question because it's a small population state on top of the fact that they don't really care about betting. They're not really, they're more interested in other things in Vermont. They like UVM, but they don't have any professional sports teams. They have one tiny college that plays D1 sports. That's it in Burlington. So this is almost like a thing of like, we didn't want it to begin with. We felt like we had to do it, and there's no real economic value to this. So let's just get rid of it to eliminate the headache that sports gambling has presented to us.
Okay. So if it was making money, or there were people actually doing it, they wouldn't be doing this.
I think so. Yes, I think that would.
So this is not a possibility of happening really else.
Oh, I think it is a sign of how different states. Yes,
that's the conversation.
Well, because I think other states are having the same debate about the fact that we thought we were going to make money. We're not making any money. It's a bigger headache because we have to hire all these people, have all these regulations, police all this stuff, and a lot of our kids who are 22 and 25-year-olds are becoming either addicted or becoming problematic gamblers, betting on their phone like crazy, being sent, all these emails to keep them betting. And they're betting on, they're using their tuition money to go and gamble. And mom and dad are pissed off, making phone calls to their politicians saying, what the hell did you guys legalize? Do something about this. So, yes, I think
there's legs behind that.
I think there is legs behind that. Absolutely. I'm efforting to get this guy on the air who is on, I don't know, I forget, I'll bring him his name. I forget his name, but he's a clinical psychiatrist who is like literally every day saying that sports gambling legalization is going to lead to the destruction of young men is what he's described it as. That sports gambling will be responsible for the destruction of young men in America. And a lot of his stuff is outdated. A lot of his stuff is nonsense, but there are a lot of people out there that are now sounding the alarm over sports gambling. And I think if one state listens, another state may actually follow suit, say, well, Vermont just repealed. Why did they repeal? And they talk to them. And then things start to snowball in different states that maybe, they start looking at the money and say, how much money did we actually make on all of this? How much tax revenue are we actually making off of all of this? So I think that there is some real thought behind all of this.
I'm very interested to see. And I think Amanda's right. The number of people and the amount of money in this particular case in Vermont is small. But that's why I wanted to talk about it now to see if you thought that there was actually like somebody in, say, Louisiana or North Carolina or Oregon.
Yeah, that's a better state. Oregon's a better state.
Like wherever going,
Oregon's a good state.
Like, what are we doing here?
Give me a state with no professional sports. Like, I guess Portland has the Trailblazers, but I need a state that does not have professional, like Iowa. Like, Iowa's a great conversation point to have. Like, Iowa's had a lot of headaches around it. Iowa does not have pro sports. When you don't have a professional sports league playing and all you have are your population-based betting on in-state colleges, I think it gets a little bit gray. I think people start to go, wait a minute, there's a lot of things going on here that we don't like. That legalization was supposed to be this great, awesome thing, and it's not been that way for us.
So,
but it's just going to drive. I mean, I said to Amanda, the happiest people on the planet are the offshore sports books and the neighborhood bookies. You've literally gone and given everybody the taste. You've gone out there and given them the product. They have tasted what it's like, and now you're going to make it illegal again? Everyone's going to go right to the black market. Even if it's only, I don't know. I think there's like 1.5 people who live in Vermont. Like, even if it's just like
1.5 million?
How many?
No, what you said 1.5 what?
Million.
Oh, okay. I don't know what it is.
Hold on. I'll tell you right now. So
population.
God, even less. It's 650,000 for Vermont. Okay. So
the state of Vermont only has 650,000 people.
Tiny state. Correct. Tiny state. So let's say that there are 5,000 people consistently betting in the state of Vermont. Okay. Those 5,000 people will still go find a way to bet. Making it legal is not going to stop them from betting. It's going to bet somewhere else.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to bet offshore or
100%.
bet with their bookie.
Right,
So
no question.
it doesn't stop the behavior. Like that's the thing that I get really pissed off about when people start saying about the destruction of young men. I'm like, guys who wanted to bet have found the way to bet any which way, and they can.
And will continue to do so.
Yeah, like
And
well, this
will
is
continue
new.
to do so.
Like gambling,
Yeah.
young people like to bet. Wow, legalization made it possible. No, it didn't. Like it just made it known. It just made it okay to talk about publicly on media and write about it and whatnot. It's nonsense that the idea that gambling is being pushed more heavily because it's legal. Sure, it's more difficult to get in trouble. Like he's like the highest number of, he said sports gamblers, which under the age of 30 have the highest suicide rate among young men. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of reasons for that. One, it's harder to get in trouble when you're betting with real money versus betting on credit. Like you get in trouble betting on credit because you get above your means and all of a sudden you owe, Jimmy Jack, who's going to knock on your door, you owe him $5,000. You don't have $5,000. Jimmy Jack says, I give you 2 days to get it. And if you don't, I'm taking your kneecap. Like these are people, it's different when it's legal. When it's legal, you got to deposit the money to go ahead and sure, you talk about credit and all the different ways around it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you cannot bet with money you don't have in the legal market. In the illegal market, you can bet on credit all the time.
So it's interesting because like King of Car Seats is in here. He's in Minnesota. Minnesota just can't get it right. Like they cannot get it. They talk about it, and then they get to the table and they can't vote on it and they can't get it accepted. And everybody at this convention is talking about the expansion and how big it's going to be when California finally says yes, or when Texas finally says yes. Okay. And I'm like, guys, I've been hearing the same thing for 5 years.
Right.
Literally. After the first year in 2018, 2019, they said, man, soon as California, Texas, or Florida goes, this thing's going to blow up. Same thing. 6 years later, they're saying the same thing. And now states are repealing it?
Mm-hmm. Or at least there's a bill. They have not voted on it. It's a bill introduced.
Is this right, what King of Car Seats said? Looks like Vermont had a $550,000 license fee.
Sure, I buy it.
That's big for 650,000 people? You're damn right that is.
Is it?
Could you imagine?
I mean, it's 10 million was the license in Pennsylvania.
I know, but there's 20 million people in Pennsylvania.
Right, so 10 times the size. I mean, isn't that
10 million people?
Isn't that kind of per capita, kind of similar in terms of, 10 million people, $10 million, 500
live in Pennsylvania. Got to be close to 15 or 20 million.
It's 20 million.
That is
13 million people live in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So 10 million for 13, 500,000 for 600,000. It's kind of similar in terms of margins, cost wise.
What a deal. What a deal.
But we all freaked out when Pennsylvania said $10 million. We went, whoa, $10 million for a license.
I understand it. You get the money up front.
Yep.
Because of what's behind the curtain. Right. A lot of times. There's 2 or 3 books making money, real money. And the rest are fighting for that inch, and it's getting cut smaller and smaller. That piece of the pie. Wow, James Berger said, I will be pissed off if Iowa revoked it. Just saying.
Yes. I think the people in Iowa, the people in Vermont are going to be pissed off. I know people in Vermont who will be mad about being there and to go like, wait a minute, like you legalize it. Now you're taking it away from me. The same people who, they'll find other ways to get down. That's just legalization doesn't mean like people are all of a sudden. I will never believe this, that if you wanted to gamble on sports, that legalization, suddenly you were now 1,000% I'm going to go and gamble where like you weren't before. Like if you wanted to gamble, you would have gambled. You want to bet on sports? I bet on sports offshore in Massachusetts decades before they legalized. Like it was just decades before they legalized. So like
You have to wait for the book for me for the stories and stuff that I did. But I know, I was running contests when I was 10.
Right. I mean, I
they
told the
were
story.
all.
My grandfather got arrested for running numbers in Lawrence, Mass. At a Sears Tavern when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like people have been doing this. I'd watch a stream steady of guys coming through, going to the back room of my grandfather's bar.
Long time.
And I finally asked, I was like, what are they doing? And like, they're placing their bets for the night. What?
Or settling up.
Or
whatever. Like,
I would go there. I played shuffleboard in the back of the shuffleboard thing that I would go there and play, and I just watch all the guys come in and out. And there was, okay. And then Grandpa got picked up, and I remember my mom came home all frantic. Grandpa got picked up. I was like, what do you mean Grandpa got picked up? From where? She goes, no, we got arrested. It's like, what do you mean you got arrested? For what? Running numbers. Running numbers? Why is that illegal? I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean running numbers? No, Grandpa got arrested for bookmaking. Why is bookmaking illegal? Like, why? I was asking all these questions, but like that was just part of that world. If you ran a bar in New England, still is part of the world. If you ran a bar in New England, you had a bookie or you were the book. One of the two. So like this stuff isn't new. This stuff is like, yeah, this is my favorite line. This is my favorite thing of all time. Like, this is great. It's like the fact that people in the audience talk to you on a landline. That's tremendous.
Joel Ondler, I talked to Dave on landline years ago. I'd bet on it. It's possible. I don't know. It's so funny because I know that happened specifically with people in Vegas when they came to Vegas, and I would hear them or they would hear me, and then I would say something because they go
like, "Why do I know your name?"
Yeah, like, hey, did you ever call down to Curacao at any point? How'd you know that? I don't know. Your voice sounds familiar. When I got one guy, he looked like he saw a ghost. And then I had to say, I'm Curacao Dave. He's like, no way.
Wow.
And we sat and had lunch that day because I hadn't seen or heard from him in, 97. And I was at the M in 2009 when that happened. So this was 12 years that I hadn't talked to that guy. And he showed up at the M to deposit some money. Wait a second. Are you? And he went, wait, who are you? So, yeah. But you're right. It goes back. And I think, I don't know, some people in the industry have a certain perception of it and where it's going. And then there's a state like this that's having this discussion, actually bringing a bill to the table. And like our guy Alfonso on Twitter, yep. Alfonso Stratton, you guys at Stratton, you find him, like he posts all these stories. There's a lot of people starting to ask a lot of questions about this industry. And I think you're going to see that happen now, as well as the positive of expansion and things.
But the reason why I think this goes nowhere is because they've included the state lottery.
Oh.
This is to repeal statutes that authorize the state lottery as well as online sports betting.
No.
So like you can't, like no one's repealing the
No one's
going
to do that. No.
Like no one's doing that. Like the lottery actually makes money. The lottery is something, I mean, here in New Hampshire, every 2 seconds you turn, they're pushing the lottery. Buying a car today, over $2 billion in counting delivered to New Hampshire schools.
Oh, yeah.
For the state lottery. Yeah. Like, so that's why when I read the bill, I was like, okay, this is not going to go anywhere. This is dead. But it is just the fact they're talking about it is why I wanted to bring it up, because
that's exactly why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, it's newsworthy.
It's newsworthy. The fact that like states are changing the tax rate on the dime.
Yep.
Like, very, not from 10% to 12%, from 10 to 30, from 20 to 40. I feel like there's a lot of people that are grabbing onto stuff. And then, it would be wonderful to get this guy on that's talking about the negative effect that gambling has on them, men. It's crazy because there's people talking about all sides of the story, right?
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going. I think that's one of the strengths of the show. And again, Marcus, leave a comment, send an email, different things like that. We love to talk about the industry. And that's why I wanted to get that on there. Send us ideas. If you guys see stories, we'll talk about it because we'll probably know someone that either writes about it or was in the meeting or listened to the earnings call or different things like that. I listened to the DraftKings earning call last week.
Right.
I had that guy from Covers, Jeff. I contacted him. He's going to come on the show.
Good.
Jeff, his last name Z. He's like, yeah, I'd love to come on your show. So we're getting a little traction, not within, people watching it, but within the industry. So we got to keep going. It's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up. I'll do that during the break, during bonus time. See if I can find that guy's name that I was the. Oh, here it is. Scott Galloway,
Okay.
NYU professor.
Oh,
is the guy. And so I'm trying to find a way to get a hold of him, to get him on, because every video right now is the fact that sports gambling is going to destroy all young men in America. The mind of a young man is ripe for destruction and addiction of sports gambling. He believes it's going to be the end of society.
I mean, that sounds like a
alarmist a bit.
Sci-fi movie type thing. Like, okay. I mean, but it is true. I mean, it can go bad quick and keep going bad. And
right, but the idea that legalization has created gamblers is just so wacko to me. Like, there were gamblers before legalization. We're not just now talking about it. It's right. Like, I mean, come on. Like, you're making it more, people might be more inclined to try it. Okay. But that doesn't mean that person wouldn't have bet somewhere else doing something else. Again, I wanted to bet on
making
sports.
It easier, though, is a thing.
Of course. Yes.
And putting it in your face with every commercial and all these other things. That is a thing. It doesn't mean it's the only thing.
Right.
It's just sometimes making it harder is better. Or you take the European approach where, like, the kids drink wine at 8 at the table and then they just become part of it. Like, I think our kids being raised here has a strength in it. Like, they've seen and done all this stuff. They go to other places and they're like,
big whoop.
Big deal.
Yep, I agree.
Get us out and finish the conversation about bonus time.
They've seen everything. I totally agree. If you guys are watching live, don't move. More to come in bonus time. If you're with us on the replay on SportsGrid or SiriusXM, thank you for being here. We're back tomorrow, same place, same time for you. The rest of you guys, bonus time now.
The boys in the chat are firing out about the cell phones being the society wrecker.
I would agree.
You've been saying that. You're right. I'm telling you, I say somebody's name in conversation, and then all of a sudden, like,
the ads pop
up. Yeah, it's so bizarre.
I was talking the other day.
I was starting to get convinced.
I was talking about, it was something totally like out of left field.
Yes.
An hour later, I saw an advertisement for it, and I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, this is such... And that's all Meta. It's all Instagram and Facebook. It's all, Twitter and the listening and everything else that goes into it. And yeah, I mean, we have created a dependent, and I will say this, the phone and sports betting do go hand in hand. Like, there is something to be said for the ease of being able to bet with a number that doesn't seem real. Like, when you have a $500 bankroll, it doesn't seem real on the phone. You're holding $500. It's different than when you go ahead and bet it. You don't have the same type of connection to it. You become desensitized to the idea that that's real money you're betting. Like, that's actual dollars that you're putting into play. Yep. So there is something to be said for that. But I would fight back on anybody that says, I don't believe sports gambling is going to be the detriment of society. I do think the phones could be, though. I think our addiction to our phones could be the end of it.
A lot of things, social media, through the phones, the reliance on AI, the reliance on all this other stuff. I mean, it's happening right now, and the sooner you acknowledge it, the better. But, just grab your kids, talk to them, talk to each other, reach out, different things and stuff. It's really needs to just be reminded over and over that it's not just the gambling, boys.
I see people in their 70s out to eat with their phones while waiting on their food. So yeah, they're a problem. Yep. Not just kids. It's a good point. It's not
true.
It's just, yeah. And Apple got sued for listening. Correct. They did. And all the apps are listening to us. I mean, it's the only way, I've always said this before, the only way that Siri works, okay, the only way that thing works, or Alexa, it has to be always listening. It has to be, it's listening for the word, for the Siri or the Alexa word, but it's always listening. So don't tell me they can't just turn it on and listen all the time. Like, don't tell me they can't be looking for other keywords, or they can float it out there. If they can find one keyword, why can't they find 5 keywords or 10 keywords? So it's bullshit. Like, it's complete and total bullshit on this. So
just in the chat right now. Leg Show Magazine. Good afternoon, glue sniffers. Good afternoon to you, Leg Show. Love when you come in and say that. Chicago Kristen, an interesting comment here in the chat. You say penis pump one time by Alexa, and my feed gets full with ads. Shaking my head. You in Chicago, John, got to have some unbelievable, interesting conversations. And I appreciate all of it. I can't wait to see the two of you again. Yeah. But it is fantastic. I wasn't expecting the penis pump to make the rundown today. It just did. T-Lo, Tommy Lorenzo, I'm having lunch and on the phone right now watching BVB. That's great, Tommy.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes, we always do. I mean, it's that time where we're going to start talking about baseball. We're going to get T-Lo on a Friday when he's home. And not working, so we can talk and get some plays.
Whitrock, thank you. In our chat, thebbshow.com, if you guys in our Discord channel, he has taken a picture of the website where Barry Hinson is listed as on the staff for one Mr. Steve Lutz. I will be texting one Mr. Steve Lutz when we get off the show, see if we can get Barry Hinson on the show tomorrow, see what Barry's up to. I got to see what OK State's schedule is, but let's see if we can get Barry on, because it would be a blast from the past to talk about college basketball with Barry Hinson. So we'll see if we can get him on the show tomorrow.
That's great.
Talk some college hoops with him. The other topic we wanted to get to, come 2029, the NFL, who made the announcement today.
Should we save this for tomorrow?
Up to you. We can.
Let's save it for tomorrow.
Okay. We can do that easily.
Because that's more than a 2-minute discussion.
All right. So we'll do that tomorrow. We'll save it. Better to book.
Leg Show just came in and said, Dave, any chance of Guerrero Jr. going to the Pirates? Leg Show. Who's sniffing the glue now? Seriously. I would love for it to happen, but he's going to fucking Boston. If he's going anywhere, he's going to Boston. Okay? I'd love for him to go to the Pirates. I said it yesterday with Wetzel. They'll put him on the side of a building. They'll play like, oh yeah. Listen, come here and play PNC Park, play first base for the next 8 years. We got Skeens on the hill. We got you at first. We'll build this team around it all. It ain't gonna happen.
Steve Fisher, you can say that, but the books have Boston as the odds-on favorite, and he has crossed off the Yankees from the list. So it's Red Sox or Mets. So flip the coin. It
might be Mets.
Could be the Mets.
The problem for the Red Sox is this is in a division.
Yeah, but they may go ahead and give him a gigantic. I mean, they give him the best prospect package. The Blue Jays can't care where he goes. Like, if they want the best prospects, the Red Sox can destroy the Mets. The Mets don't have any prospects.
Right.
Red Sox are the best farm system in baseball. So, like, they've got 3 kids that are ranked in the top 12 right now who are all major league ready from Baseball America, including the #1 player all of the whole minor leagues in Roman Anthony. So, like, it's not about money, Fisher. It's about the trade. He's under contract for 1 year. So if he gets traded to the Red Sox for 1 year, they give him an extension. He never goes to free agency. He never hits the market for the Mets.
Did you see his stats in Boston?
He crushes, just like the last guy that they signed in Bregman. Power bats at right field have hit well at Fenway Park over history. Like, that's not anything new. It's where, the Green Monster is easy. He'll hit 30 home runs at home.
All right, stop talking about this.
Let's go.
I just had to bring that up. But
it's tremendous. I love it.
Now my feed's going to be filled with Boston.
It's tremendous. I love the fact that, like, I was arguing today with somebody from Houston about, like, ripping on the Red Sox. Something they haven't done anything since 2018. They've been a clown franchise. Like, do you guys forget they've won 4 championships since 2004? Like, what are we talking about? Like, this is they haven't been good the last couple of years. Yes, but they're like the sleeping giant. Don't wake them the fuck up. If you do that, they've got money, power, prestige, and a fan base. Like, don't wake up the Red Sox, and you have. So you've woken them up. Like,
stop.
Just saying. Like,
stop talking.
Here we go.
No one wants to hear this shit.
Please here we go.
Please.
All right. Missouri is hosting Alabama tonight. Bama's a road dog.
You like Mizzou?
I'm taking Missouri. Alabama's not. I am down on Bama. I am.
Oh, I think this is an ultimate bounce back spot here.
Okay. I like Missouri. Missouri's great at home.
They are good.
They've been great in the SEC against the number here.
Wow. Okay.
This has been. I've seen numerous. This is a square versus sharp play. The sharps are on Missouri. The squares are on Bama. That whole dumb argument going on.
Yeah.
I think Missouri wins the game. Bama
Yeah.
loses back-to-back games for the first time this season.
Okay. We'll see. Makes perfect sense. Guys, fire it in the chat. If you're a hoop head, you're going
Game
to
of the
watch
night.
this game. Who wins this game, Mizzou or Bama? Just type it right there.
10-2 ATS, Missouri in the SEC this year. 8-4 Alabama.
Yep.
Lost at home to Auburn, and I think it was more of a sign to me of like where Alabama is. You could say bounce back. They're going to rise right back up after losing to Auburn.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I don't like Mark Sears. I've said on the show for all season, I'm not a Mark Sears guy.
Yep.
What do you guys hire saying high tide?
High tide.
Shows you how marketing works, man. Marketing is a good deal. You get people to say high tide. The number moved against me, but I like Kentucky tonight. I'm going to lay the 5.5. You can get 4.5 right now for Kentucky at home against Vanderbilt. Payback time.
They beat up?
They are. 2 guys are out. Don't care. Game is. That's why KenPom has it as a 9-point win.
Yeah, I don't.
Because of the injuries. 2 guards are out, but they've won without the guards. They've already won without them. So
right.
It's not like them. It's like shocking that Kentucky is going to be down 2 guards tonight. Won 3 games. They've covered 3 games in a row. At home, beat Tennessee by 11 in the last home game without
Kentucky
the kid.
Did.
Yep, without the kid.
Right. All right. I mean, I think maybe this is a bet. I don't know. I hate these
not
games
good on the road
with all this question marks. So Vanderbilt beat them in Vandy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is probably
back.
Kentucky play. Kentucky money line wins for sure.
Back. And then I took the 10.5 points with Chicago, Illinois, Chicago at Drake. I think Drake wins.
Isn't Drake one of your squads?
It is, but I think when you hear the name Ben McCollum in Iowa, and they lost their last game outright at home to Illinois State, the kids know. The kids are starting to go, uh-oh, we might lose our coach.
Oh, DraftKings went to 9.5.
Drake sucked as a 10-point or more favorite this year.
Wow.
They haven't covered big numbers.
Okay. I'll say it's a bet then.
We go with Illinois, Chicago on that.
Okay.
Favorite thing about today is what?
So it was really cool yesterday to do that panel. And it was about, I think the title was Breaking into Sports Media, but
correct. Yeah.
Brad came on with his, money dollar jacket there. Jen Piacenti was dressed up to the nines and everything else. And I show up in the Las Vegas 51s baseball jersey and hat, matching shoes. I got more comments on the jersey.
Nice.
But I got a couple really nice comments and feedback on the show.
Oh, good.
Now, I don't know if they watched the whole show. I don't know if they watched the live show.
Just clips.
But I know they see the clips.
Yeah.
And they talk about things. And all walks of life. Although it was no women said anything to me yesterday. It was guys, tall guys, short guys, white guys, black guys. It was all different genres. But the one guy who came up to me and said, "Man, I really enjoy your Twitter feed, Dave. But that meat curtains thing you did on BVB, that still makes me laugh to this day." And I started laughing my ass off and said, "That's my favorite thing about today, tomorrow on the show." It is just one of those things that just happens out of nowhere. We talk about it. You OGs have been here know. The ones that are new, if you've seen the clip,
it's good stuff.
It's funny stuff.
Oh,
we got to keep doing the show. If for no other reason, the meat curtains lives on forever.
That is infamy. That will never. I don't know if I'll ever live that down. That's yes, I would agree, Christian. Those are hilarious. Nick Tom, yes, Drake is the team with a bunch of Northwest Missouri State players from Ben McCollum's national championship team that he brought from D2 to Drake, and they've done nothing but go 23-3 in their first year of D1 basketball. So, coaches coach. If you can coach, you can coach up a bunch of kids that might not be D1 caliber to win 23 games. That's why I was looking at Ben McCollum to replace most likely retiring Fran McCaffrey, maybe firing, maybe a fired Fran McCaffrey, but most likely a retiring Fran McCaffrey coming up at the end of this season. So yes, 100% that's why. Yes, Tommy, I did see Drake in the drone, which was one of the funniest things I've seen. The throw. Did you see this, Dave?
Nope.
So Drake was in Australia. Somebody flew a drone into his penthouse on top of a building in Australia. And so the drone was like hovering and like taping, and he came out and he picked up a slide and he tried to throw it at the drone, but he throws kind of like this. And he went,
oh no.
It was like 50 Cent throwing the
oh no, that bad?
Yeah. So the thing went like didn't even come close to hitting the drone. So it's become like a running meme today across the internet that Drake can't throw. He throws like this.
No, you can't throw. Just do it like a frisbee or something. Like you can't,
or get a bat and just like whack at the drone or something. Don't throw at it. Like, my God, that's not there. Johnny Parlay. Yeah, this was from our friend on Wager Talk who threw the 15 straight overs on Temple. Ralph Michaels had that this morning. 15 straight overs for Temple. Looks like that streak could be in jeopardy, I guess, on that. So we'll see. For my favorite thing about today really is that I love the fact this week has been really fun because college basketball has been given its due.
Yeah.
There's been nothing else going on. So just to kind of lock in on college basketball, and tonight we got another really cool night of just sitting and watching college basketball. And so it's been fun. It's been me, Amanda, and Brooks every night. And she's got this big TV that we put YouTube TV on, and we're watching 4 games at once. And in the beginning, Brooks was like, why the hell are you watching 4 games at once? 4 games at once. This is ridiculous. And now he's like trying to figure out different scores. And now he's watching it with me and knowing why I'm watching each game. And I'm like, well, I need this point in this. I need this game in this, explaining, the different plays I've got on different games. And it's without NBA or hockey to worry about. Now, tomorrow night, we're getting into the game tomorrow night. And did you see the video, by the way, of McAvoy getting hurt?
No.
I missed it. It's fucking brutal. Like, he got hit from behind by a player from Finland, got drilled right into the post, straight on his left shoulder. He separated the shoulder, and then they tried to do a procedure to fix it, to suture it, and it got infected. So now he has a staph infection or an infection in his shoulder from the injury / treatment of the injury. He's going to be out for a long period of time. So McAvoy for the Bruins is a huge loss. Like, everybody here is like completely pissed off about the hit. They're pissed off about the fact that he was playing. This is the bad side of the exhibition tournament.
Right.
You're going to lose a player for a long time who is playing in a meaningless game where he's the best defenseman for the Bruins, and he's going to be out for weeks, if not months, for the Bruins. So really crappy situation. But tomorrow we'll spend a lot of time on Team USA in Canada because that game is going to be epic.
Got a text from a guy who has a ticket.
Woo, baby.
So I
You're
said,
not playing?
No. I told him I'm not coming. But I said, there's a guy there that might want to go. But I don't want to take you away from watching a game with Amanda Brooke.
Yeah, that's true. It's so damn cold. Walking from the garage to the fucking building you'd be frozen solid. 13 degrees.
The hype is real for that game.
It's going to be epic. It's going to be absolutely epic. And I
can't fucking wait. I feel like it should be today.
Win. Canada's going to win. It sucks. They're going to win.
Maybe.
Canada's going to win.
Maybe.
I don't want them to win. They're going to win. I hate it. I hope I'm wrong. We'll break it down tomorrow. He's Dave. I'm Matt. Thursday tomorrow. A lot of USA Canada hockey talk tomorrow. If you don't like it, sorry. Keep on scrolling. Talk to you tomorrow for BBB.